Welcome back, realvacantland.com. My name's Luke Smith, and today I'd like to talk about Burger King and QSR, quick service restaurants and commercial real estate. And so I have a passion for real estate. I started buying vacant lots in the desert in the middle of nowhere for $500 and selling them on the internet for a couple $1,000. And I said, how many of those can I get? Can I get 100 more of those? What happens if I offer $800 or $1,000, $5,000, $10,000? Does the quality of the property go up? Does the quality deal go up? Does the quality of party on the other side of the transaction go up? And it does, and it does, and it does. And so I've been learning along the way. I've been making lots of mistakes, but I've had some pretty fun deals along the way too. And so I learned from the mistakes. I try to avoid those things going forward and try to focus in on the good, fun ones and do more of those out into the future. Now, somewhere along the way, doing those kinds of land trades, I started getting properties kind of like this one in the background that you could put a Burger King on, a quick service restaurant, or I like to call it high traffic retail. And other people ran into other kinds of properties, but I ran into high traffic retail. And I like high traffic retail because of the data. It's a very data focused kind of trade. It's a commodity, really, but if you can figure out the data, you can make it more of a homogeneous price in lots of different markets. And I like to price properties. I like to figure out valuations for them. I like to make offers. I like to take them and go run with them in the markets from there. And so when I can use data to my advantage like that, I'd like to. And I think that really shines through in retail. And because of my passion for data and real estate, retail just speaks to me more than a lot of the other subsets of commercial real estate. So I've spent a lot of time and energy going after retail properties and studying them. And so today's video, I do a little bit of background. I started getting these vacant properties like this and figuring out who should go there and selling it to those people and making a lot more money than a house goes here kinds of properties. And so I want more of those, right? And so that same data of who goes here also works for a vacant building. Like if this building were vacant, like there's numerous vacant Burger Kings. I've worked on vacant Burger Kings in multiple different markets in the country. You could get a vacant Burger King building and find somebody else that goes into that building, sell them on the building, either sell them the building or lease it to them, give them some money to fix it up, polish it up, make it look like a Wendy's or a Taco Bell or something going forward, something else, and keep a spread, rent it out to them and then collect rent for the rest of forever or go sell it on the back of the price of what their rents go for. There's nice spreads in there when it's done right. And so I'd like to do that. I'd like to be an expert in that. I'd like to learn. I'm just a neophyte, but I'm learning, right? And so today's video is about learning. And I was looking for more vacant buildings like this that I could go find tenants for, put the tenants into and polish it up. And I came across this one and I made this database because I'm a data guy, right? And I figured if we got these buildings and they're in all these different markets all over the country, how the heck do I rank them? So I figured the best way to rank them would be, because what I see in the data is that buildings that are next to good brand names, I mean, that's nice. But buildings that are good next to good brand names that are doing lots of business, that's nicer, that's better, that's easier to get a response to somebody to say, yeah, I want to rent that thing. And so I started studying what the neighbors are doing, not just their names, but their names and their business, the quantity of business that they're doing. And so if you start ranking these buildings by the neighbors and how much business the neighbors are doing, I got a data set and I rank them and I go from the highest ranking ones down. And what happens is the highest ranking ones, when I start clicking on them, they're sold faster than I can figure them out. Somebody took off with them. Somebody beat me to the punch. That's like the cutting edge part of the market. They're paying way more money than I'm willing and able to pay. And it's like, oh, but it says my data's working, right? So I like that part. So if I start with a crazy and I go down, 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 somewhere along the way, you start getting to the turning point where I can start getting a hold of those properties before it gets so ugly you don't want to touch them down there at the bottom of the numbers. And I think that's going to be the competitive, edge of the marketplace, if you will. So I ran into this building going down my list, my rankings, and there's some good numbers in the area. And this thing's not vacant like I was looking for, but I wanted to share because I'm enthusiastic about learning, right? And I think teaching is a great way to learn. So, um, I pull this thing up and they're talking about this building and the neighbors, and so here's the Burger King and the the Starbucks and the McDonald's and the Arby's and the others that are over here. Um, I pulled them up and so here's here's the listing for my database. I try to pull it up in Crexy. It's like no longer for sale. Like, oh yeah, should have been here yesterday, right? So I pulled it up, just so I'm like, okay, I'm still going down the rabbit hole. I'm going to learn. So this Burger King, I pull it up in Placer. Placer has all kinds of cell phone traffic information. You can see what's going on in the area. And I zoom in. Here's our Burger King. And the McDonald's over here, this McDonald's is rocking. They're like doing a bunch of business. And I go click on the McDonald's and they start pulling up statistics on the McDonald's. I probably should have pulled this up before I started the video to go faster. But the McDonald's is blowing your hat off. So many customers are flying through the drive-through on that thing. 95 percentile. It's kind of small, but it's way up here. It's 95 here. It's way over here in this list. I can get it on the screen. There's some that are better, but this McDonald's is doing really well. And the Starbucks was doing like middle of the pile. The Chipotle wasn't doing that great, but there's some others, and the Arby's is okay, but the McDonald's is really killing it. And so there's a bunch of stuff around here, and it's the Kmart's out of business, but Burger King's still going for it. I thought that was neat. And so I pulled up traffic, and I'm going to get to the point here in a little bit, but I like looking at this data and learning, right? So what makes, what's going on with this retail core? The McDonald's is down here on like 7,000 on either side of the street. 14,000 cars a day here, seven. It's like 14,000 cars a day in front of the Burger King. Maybe some people come from this side street, kind of. They could enter in the side. That's like 11,000 cars a day going on the side street. So there's some traffic in this area, right? I was looking up, like if we take McDonald's demographics, I think they're middle America people, 55 grand or something. 51 grand, median income 51 grand. This is kind of average people in America. It's not rich, it's not poor kind of area. They're just doing, just working it, right? Okay, so I was reading this. This is the offering memorandum. The guys that put it together, you can see their names and phone numbers and stuff. If you wanted to call them, you could hit pause and call them and ask questions or whatever. So they got the tenant on here, the Ganesh Inc., the guy doing business at Burger King, the guy Mukesh, whatever his name is. It's got a 20-year lease, and it's like, if it started in 1983, why is the lease going for another 20 years? Or it's dead or it's gone? I'm like scratching my head. And then, I found down here they got tenant is scraping and rebuilding the building in 2024. How cool is that? What kind of awesome tenant does that? So they're asking like a 6 cap on this thing. It's a Burger King. It's basically building a brand new Burger King. Somebody's, rebuilding it, and it's a ground lease. So the tenant is building it. You're not paying, if you bought this, you're not paying insurance. You're not paying taxes. You're not paying maintenance. You're not paying to build the building. Your tenant's building the building. It's a pretty neat setup. I just wondered what kind of statistics it takes to get somebody to scrape a Burger King and go rebuild it. So they've been operating that same Burger King for 40 years. They've got all kinds of data. Lots of times these newer Burger Kings, newer concepts of these brands do a lot more data. I see in different marketplaces like McDonald's, they'll take the old 1980s McDonald's and they'll make it a newer looking McDonald's, and they'll do 2 times as much business as they were before on the same street in the same markets. Hopefully Burger King does that here and they do great and they stick around forever. I just thought it was really enlightening to see that kind of information, what kind of market a Burger King gets bulldozed and rebuilt in, because there's different ones out there, and ones that I've had my hands on in the past didn't have. I never had a Burger King that had a 95 percentile McDonald's just down the street with a Starbucks next door and a Chipotle on the other side of it. And it's neat to see the class that does it. They're not going huge dollars here. It's $100,000 triple net a year, which is the rent. So you get $100,000 a year rent for the first 5 years, and then it goes up. I think it was 5% every 5 years. I'm gonna get lost in the details, but you get the idea. I want to try to share more information about shopping and studying these these kinds of opportunities, because I think there's a lot of opportunities in these vacant restaurants, finding tenants for them. And I'd like to share. I'd like to invite you guys to come along for the ride, and you can make fun of me, you can ask questions, you can tell me what I'm doing wrong. That's what it's all about. Put it in the comments. Love to hear your questions and comments. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.